All right, here we are, Expandacraft, and this is just after, just after the test of this prototype. Again, this is a prototype, folks. Don't knock me about, the looks of the thing. This is a very minimalistic apparatus designed to test out this 55-pound thrust Newport Vessels electric. It's a 12 volt, so we only needed one battery. If you see, I got the battery in the back, me in the center, motor in the front, which balanced the whole boat. If you'll notice here, I've got a swivel chair. This is Millennium Pro, very, very, very comfortable. And you can see this is higher up than most kayak seats. But then again, this particular Expandacraft is quite a bit wider. Even though you can paddle it, it's a good bit wider than most sit-on-top kayaks. Very, very stable. I was out there with a bunch of boat wakes, coming at all sorts of angles. Never had a problem with it. Now, this battery is probably 3 years old and hasn't really had a lot of use. But I managed to get almost 5 miles out of this thing, and top speed was about 6 knots. That's nautical miles per hour. And you'll see here, I've got this makeshift, again, prototype rudder. And it worked okay, but I could, it's a kayak rudder, and quite honestly, I could use a little bit more blade. That is, a little bigger rudder would be more effective. This particular one I have rigged up, and I just have a little handle. And I took this handle and just rested it on my little fishing pole holder, and it works just fine. But later, what I would do is I would do a full deck, a 2-foot wide deck, and probably do something with foot operated mechanism to steer the rudder. That way my hands are totally free. It was really nice that I could turn the motor and the rudder separately so that I could make a tighter turn, even though it's almost a 17-foot long vessel, 16 feet 9 inches. It turned like a short boat because I could turn the motor in the front and the rudder in the back, and of course it's kind of like having 4-wheel steering. Well, anyway, so far so good. Even with an old battery that probably doesn't have the lifespan that a new battery would, especially if it was one of the new lithium-ion batteries, which are a quarter of the weight or less. I still got almost 5 miles, and it still has battery left. I could have kept going. So 5 miles on one battery at top speed of 6 knots, and that was on full throttle. So if I did a click or two less than full throttle, you would be able to go much, much farther. Even though you're going slower, you'll actually end up going farther, because honestly, full throttle on this creates a little bit of a wake and disturbance in the water that eats up power. So if you're not impatient, and you can go at setting number 3, which is still 3.5 knots. So the difference between 3.5 knots and 5 knots, probably I'm going to guess you could probably double the distance that you can travel. You'll just be going a little slower. That's all. And if you're trolling, you want to go about 2 knots. And that's on setting number 2. And you could go for probably 6 hours or farther if you like. Anyway, expandacraft.com. Check us out.